Hello ladies and gentlemen and welcome back to the Serenity Gaming Wintersplit. We are in week 4 of Division 2 where we have a great game lined up here. We have Dorado versus Cepheus. I'm Kui, I will be your play-by-play for tonight. And as once again I am joined by the brains of the operation, I have the Litzy with me. How are we doing?
I am doing absolutely fantastic. How about you?
I am doing absolutely fantastic as well. Now we have got the lobby all set up, and so we have quite looking at these teams from a very subjective standpoint, so to say, but looking just at the lobby alone, we have quite a disparity in ranks. But without that facing us, how are you looking at this game? What are you thinking is going to be the big selling points for either team?
Well, I think it's definitely going to be an uphill battle for Dorado. Cepheus came into this saying, we're going to 2-0 everybody in this division, because they're looking to break into Division 1. So that's going to be a bit of an interesting conflict there. What I think, Dorado's just going to have to play their best game that they can, try to win the lanes, hold on to late game, where Cepheus, usually they try to just stomp early and then move on.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and as we were talking about the uphill battle coming in for Dorado, they have had in previous games, we saw, for example, when you and I last casted together, we had Power Greek pop off in the mid lane, I believe on the Kassadin, which won in the first game in what unfortunately ended up being a reverse sweep against them. But, you know, when you have a carry like Power Greek or RL Falcon, the highest ranked on Dorado, do you still see a possibility where they take off one game from this 2-0 dream that Cephalus have put themselves in?
I mean, if they can pull it off, that would be absolutely fantastic. Like I said, though, it's going to be very difficult. They're definitely going to have to rely very heavily upon Power Geek. Hopefully he can get ahead. Hopefully he can shut down Ripper in the mid lane.
Yeah, and also, I think the thing I want to look at the most is in a game where it's so, possible one-sided, there is a lot on emphasis on the early game and see if a snowball comes through, which is why I want to look a lot quickly at the junglers of either team. On blue side, we have Dorado to begin with, and we have Name Change King, followed by Prompo for Cephalus. What sort of picks could we see coming up from Name Change King that can make this early impact and try to swing the momentum into the favor of Dorado?
Well, I think that Dorado is going to be looking to play maybe an early game gank-heavy jungler. We might be seeing a Xin Zhao come in, possibly a Trundle. Other than that, from Cepheus, like I said, I'm sort of expecting to see early game from them as well. So I think there's going to be a lot of conflict in the jungle, a lot of back and forth, some invading. I want to see maybe, both junglers ganking bot lane at the same time, something like that. I think it'd be very fun to watch.
Yeah, and also something I want to talk about with Moella, the top lane. Moella? I think Moella. I'm going to go with Moella for the rest of the game. I could be entirely wrong on that. But if you just, have a brief glance at this OPG duo, if you've ever seen the guy's match history, Tryndamere is up there, for sure, with 210 games more on that champion than any other. So, obviously, I think it's fair to say that might be a banned out, but what can he fall back on should something go wrong to his poor dear Tryndamere?
Well, I mean, first of all, they might try to ban out Tryndamere straight off the bat, in which case he's going to have to fall back on his other champions, which are more bruisers and tanks. We see some Shen, some Irelia, some Sion, and those are not bad champions to have in your back pocket, definitely with the Irelia and Sion. Shen, we haven't seen a lot of really great top plays with. He's pretty easy to counter in lane and to force him to stay, and since he has to leave in order to support his team, then that opens up the top lane with just being able to push in and take the tower. And against a Tryndamere, that's definitely a bad idea. Split push Tryndamere if that's what he does. So I'm expecting, if the Tryndamere gets banned out, to see Irelia or Sion.
Yeah.
And possibly, if they don't ban out Tryndamere, then we may be seeing a hard Tryndamere counter, maybe a ranged top laner.
Yeah, but something that is prominent with that Tryndamere, as you say, is just basically sitting alone in top, forcing a 4v4 game. And if he's, just going to scale off of all those minions, he will be an absolute nuisance to every tower he comes across. But something we do have to mention before we go into game, there is a substitute coming through for Cepheus. I am going to mess that up numerous times throughout the night. But we have SRG Abu is coming in support as a substitute. We are not new to substitutes as a casting duo, I suppose, as we had this problem a few weeks ago. But with Vomit, for example, actually on Dorado being out a couple of weeks ago. But now we have Abu coming in, support. What can we know about this guy, and what can we expect?
So this guy seems to play mostly mage support and some heavy engage support. So we see a Nami and Bard, really great mage support to control, stun people down, heal up your ADC. But we also see a Braum and Thresh in there, as well as Alistar a little bit down the list. Heavy engage, thick protection, tanks. So honestly, I'd expect to see the mage play, but we may be seeing possibly a Braum Lucian.
Yeah, Braum Lucian, one of those really powerful lanes, and we were talking about snowballing. That's one of the best ways to go about it. But we've talked a lot about, I've probably led you down the path of talking a lot about Cepheus, but we do have another team on the other side with RL Falcon and Lollicon Lulu, once again taking up the mantle of bot lane for Dorado. We saw them perform pretty admirably in previous games that we've casted together, but didn't quite come on top. What can they do to solidify themselves as one of the top bot lane duos in this division?
Well, as far as Falcon and Lollicon, I think just winning lane in this case, there's only so much you can do in League since it is a team game. You can win your lane and still lose the game overall. So I think if they can establish a real good bot lane duo and shut out Nick and Abu, then it'll really show that these two people understand each other. They're really good at playing together, and they have been performing very well. As far as Nick and Abu, there may be a little bit of... There may not be quite as much synergy there since Abu is a substitute. He's not playing with his... Nick is not playing with his normal support. So I think that Abu is definitely going to have to pay very close attention to what Nick is thinking, and vice versa, if they're going to succeed in this lane.
Yeah, something interesting that I've actually just had come through the ear is that Abu was actually the starting support for Cepheus once upon a time. It was very recently that someone else took up the mantle. So to say there's no synergy between Nick Panda and Abu is maybe a bit wrong now that with all this new information, but something that is now new is that the possibility of, how do I explain this? Almost tension between the team. Maybe not so much hurt feelings, but maybe a bit of discommunication. That could come through for Cepheus. However, Abu is not new to the team, so it could go either way. However, that'll be very interesting to see.
Yeah, I didn't know that about Abu here. That is very interesting, and I think it will be something we're going to have to look for going forward. That maybe this is going to sort of like reignite a spark. Maybe, I don't know why Abu hasn't been playing support recently. It could just be he's had other things going on, or possibly it's more that he got replaced. So if it was he got replaced, then maybe he's looking to prove that he's good for playing in the league again. And if it was just he had other stuff going on, then maybe it won't be so much that, and more just will he be a little bit rusty, or will he be able to pick up where he left off and keep up with what Nick is doing?
Yeah, definitely. So we've sort of run down everywhere. Vomit was actually away for the last game we casted together, and he was replaced by Light Moonery, who actually did an admirable effort picking up these champions that basically forced a game of two fronts, where he played a lot of split push. So Vomit coming back into his starting position as top lane, and no longer needs a substitute on Dorado. It'd be very good to see him come back into the mantle. What differences can we see between him and Light Moonery, who we've seen before?
Well, as far as Vaughn goes, he doesn't play as many split push champions. It's more on the side of team play, which is always good to see. So I'm looking to maybe see a little bit more of 5v5 fighting here.
Yeah, and 5v5 fighting is exactly what we want to see. There's going to be a lot of pressure around that with the early game possibilities, but we have got a link towards the pick ban, so that will be coming forward to you anytime soon. Do you see any of these picks or early bans coming through? Can you maybe profit any of the pick ban going forward into the first phase?
Well, I think a big one will be the Tryndamere. I think that Dorado is going to have to get that out of the way. And then on the side of Cepheus, what they want to ban, we may be seeing a Kassadin ban, because that was such a powerful presence from Power Greek the last time they played.
Yeah, for sure. And we saw the cockiness come out of Cepheus, so that might even translate over to pick ban, we never know. But for the first game, we do have Dorado on the blue side, Cepheus on the red. So we've spoken quickly about the bans going through, but suppose maybe something like Tryndamere or these big one tricks are off the playing field. What can we see coming through early for blue side?
So for Dorado, like I said, we're probably going to see a lot of fighting in the jungle. Which jungler can manage to invade the other and get away with it? Or maybe we might be seeing a duel inside of the jungle and one of them kills the other, gets ahead. That would be a very good thing for either team. So I think that's probably what Dorado's going to have to do here. They're going to have to make big plays. They're going to have to take big risks. And if it pays off, then they may be able to take a game off of Cepheus or even win.
Yeah, so we have a bit of a prediction to have a lot of pressure on the jungle, which maybe puts a little bit of pressure on Name Change King himself in that jungle position against Prompo on the other side, as we have got a slight delay happening because of Abu leaving the lobby. So we will get back to that shortly. I believe we can take a short break whilst we wait to see what's happening, unless we are going to Champion Select. It seems to be a bit of a mess. Okay, it's just a league client mess up, so we will actually be getting into Champion Select at normal speed using Pro Draft. And Cepheus, they're definitely the favourites to win this game. I think that's entirely fair to say. What early game picks, or what can they take to make sure they close out in a convincing 2-0 fashion like they're saying they will do?
Well, like I say, take away the Kassadin from Pro Geek, or not Pro Geek, Power Greek, sorry. And I think taking away the Kassadin from him will be big, because he had such a convincing game on that last time we casted together. It was Pegasus versus Dorado. So I think getting that out of the way, big thing. And then as far as bot lane, I'm thinking maybe getting the Kai'Sa out of the way. And we've also been seeing a lot of Morgana and Caitlyn. We saw that from Falcon and Lulu last time.
Yeah, definitely, and we are in pick ban action. We have Nocturne taken away from Dorado in the first ban. We were talking about the really aggressive junglers, and Nocturne is almost the epitome of that, it seems like. Once he hits that level 6, you throw down the paranoia and jump, if and anywhere. There's a lot of obvious paranoia coming in from the teams. Oh, is he top, is he bot, is he mid? And that is really what Cepheus could have abused. So it's good that that's gone. And another priority on jungle. We were talking about this not long ago, and that is, Warwick gone, Nocturne gone. There's a lot of priority going on to Prompo right now.
That's right. That's one thing that Prompo has sort of in his back pocket is the Warwick play. We don't see Warwick a lot in the higher level of play, but that's something that he has in his back pocket that he can pull out. I haven't really seen it played in the split, but looking at his match history, it's apparently a very strong pick for him.
Yeah, and when you hit this sort of division, it's sort of a bit of a movement away from this meta and, very all-encompassing picks, the really overpowered ones, and you see a bit more priority or lenience towards something that you are personally good on. We see that with Warwick, and we see this all across the board, and especially Division 2, even sometimes in Division 1, where it's just a case of if you're good at something, pick it up, and that will almost certainly work out for you, provided you are comfortable with the matchup. Something to mention, I believe Tryndamere has actually been left open for the top laner of Cepheus in Moella, but instead they are going for the Camille and the Akali, two very strong picks, very aggressive.
That's right. The amount of dive that Camille has in her kit and being able to just lock down one person and take them out will give her great dueling ability inside of the lane against this Ornn by the looks of it, and also will give her a lot of team fight engage, a lot of, hey, just follow me and we'll be just fine.
Yeah, and something just to quickly note that we weren't originally informed of, there is a missing ban. That is because Cepheus announced their substitute of Abu a bit too late. However, that is why you're seeing a nice big red box instead of a champion. They have lost their first ban, so it's nothing to be alarmed over, as the first picks are all done, and Kazan take away from Power Greek, as you were talking about so extensively, very potent on that champion, as Braum rounds out the Cepheus composition, missing what seems to be an ADC and what could be anything, as you've got quite a few flex picks coming through with Camille and Akali.
So this is big, taking away the Tristana. We've seen a lot of very good plays from Nick and the Tristana, so that isn't a real surprise there. Also, I'd like to point out that Cepheus has taken away the namesake of Dorado's support player, Lolicon Lulu, and the Lulu has been banned out.
Yeah, that Lulu gone in the first rotation, so Lolicon Lulu will be resorting to the Morgana, a relatively similar playstyle where you throw down your shield on your carry and hope all goes well, but there is also the elements of engagement from Morgana. The Soul Shackles and Dark Binding is incredible lockdown, which could be really useful when you're dealing with all these dashy champions like Akali and Camille, who if you can lock them down and stop them with all their mobility, then you have so much room to play with. As Darius is the final pickup, not the final pickup, sorry, the top pickup for Cepheus, so we can start to place where things are going. The Akali mid, Camille jungle, Darius top seems most likely, but I'm not going to put money on it just in case they throw a curveball. Orianna for Dorado.
That's not something I was expecting there, seeing a Darius come in. I figured that it was going to be Camille in the top lane, but I mean, I love seeing Camille jungle too. It's something you don't see a whole lot, but when it is played properly, it is incredibly powerful.
Yeah, for sure, and we are just waiting on the last pick, and then we will have all 10 champions locked and loaded. We have Xayah Morgana confirmed as the bot lane for Dorado, so we have spoken a little bit about how Falcon could well be a pivotal carry for Dorado and Xayah with that self-peel, as well as the peel coming through from pretty much the entirety of his team, is really sort of nudging towards the idea that they will be playing around Falcon for this game, as Vayne is actually the AD carry. You see this really aggressive early team, then you see a late game carry like Vayne come out, sort of like a contingency plan, but also a bit left field.
That's right. That might be just in case, who knows, let's have sort of this backup plan if we do end up in the late game. Let's have someone who will just be able to delete the enemy team, especially with having the Ornn there. I think that is definitely not a bad idea. Vayne is able to shred through tanks very quickly.
Yeah, and with the concussive blows, the tanks will be stunned up and shredded with all that true damage. You might see a bit of a rough game for Ornn. Xin Zhao, however, Vayne, a very short-range ADC, actually does alright into Xin Zhao, who typically would have a pretty good time dealing with things like Caitlyn, etc. Whereas Vayne, a lot more in-your-face, sort of works around the ultimate, blocking out auto attacks outside that zone. However, we will have to catch up on the client, so in the meantime we will throw it over to a short break whilst everyone catches up, and we will then get going. Do not go anywhere, we will be back shortly.
Tonight I'm coming out the shadows. Long time coming, gonna get what's mine. I'm here standing at the doorway, staring down my glory. It's my time. 'Cause I'm a blade in the darkness. I'm a bullet in the gun, that's me. My heart, it beats like a bass drum. Come and let me get some. Never gonna back down, never gonna break, won't bend. Now, tonight there's gonna be a showdown. Tonight there's gonna be war. This is what we came for. The victor, the champion. I'll be the last one standing. The raging, the glory. Tonight they'll write my story down. Time goes by in a moment. Can't blink now, only got one shot. It's all on me, gonna own it. Running to the top now, I won't stop. 'Cause I'm a blade in the darkness. I'm a bullet in the gun, that's me. My heart, it beats like a bass drum. Come and let me get some. Never gonna back down, never gonna break, won't bend. Now, tonight there's gonna be a showdown. Tonight there's gonna be war. This is what we came for. The victor, the champion. I'll be the last one standing. The raging, the glory. Tonight they'll write my story down. They'll write my story. Tonight they'll write my story down. Tonight they'll write my story. Tonight they'll never gonna back down, never gonna break, won't bend. Now, tonight there's gonna be a showdown. Tonight there's gonna be war. This is what we came for. The victor, the champion. I'll be the last one standing. The glory. Tonight they'll write my story down. Tonight they'll write my story down.
And we have made it into the game. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. If you are just joining us, we are at week 4 of Division 2, where we have Dorado versus Cepheus on blue and over the top introductions through the KDA event. And to go along with that, we have KDA. It's got no relevance to the game, but as always, I am Kui, joined by the Litzy, and we are seeing an aggressive start straight off the bat from red side.
That's right. Looks like Cepheus is going to be coming into the bot lane and getting some hits onto Falcon.
Yeah, they get some hit onto Falcon, doesn't quite lead to anything else. Prompo gets the max range on that stun, but with that early aggression, it definitely confirmed what we were talking about in Champion Select, where it is going to be what is going to look like a quick game and a matter of confidence on Dorado to keep their heads up in this one. However, you know, a few hits on Sire isn't telltelling. Tailtelling? Tailtelling.
Yes, and it looks like we've had a little bit of a trade onto the Akali, but you know, these early game things, your health regen is going to clear that up by the end. The main thing I'd like to point out is that was a 5-man invade. Cepheus, they are a team, and League is a team game, and I think that whatever, in this case, we don't have a lot of split push. We have a lot of team playing potential here. We have maybe a little bit of split push coming out from Bauman with the Ornn, but Ornn also just makes such an incredible team fighter. It'd be a shame to keep them all cooped up in the top lane.
Yeah, and with the red buff going over to Camille, we could see one of those classic early game level 2 ganks walking through Tribe Rush now. But in the other side of the map, or well, just down in mid lane, we see one. In top lane, the stun does go down onto Vomon, who is being slowed down by the red buff. The final proc of the Q does come through from Camille, does not do enough damage to really lead to anything. Vomon keeps all his summoner spells, but has definitely lost all pressure in that lane.
That's right. Vomon will either have to back or use up all of his potions. Looks like he has taken the second route. He has used up he's used up one of his corrupting potions already. Since he has brought the Time Warp Tonic with him by the looks of it, he obviously is getting a lot of health back. That is a very powerful thing to run on Ornn, especially in the top lane. And it looks like we're seeing some invade coming out from Prompo straight away, and it looks like Name Change is taking the blue buff.
We're seeing a bit of mutual respect in that regard. They've both gone for the 2-buff start as ever. However, they have gone for the opponent's blue buff. So good read from Name Change King to know that Prompo would be going for that blue buff after his pressure on the top side. We're seeing a very even start. There's a lot of aggression that's been coming out from red side on Cepheus to try and get this early lead, but nothing's quite sticking. However, in the something we need to talk about is the Vayne late game hyper carry is there for Cepheus, but we also have the Zyra on the other hand, who maybe peaks damage a little bit earlier. However, as I am talking, Name Change King is aggressed on, forced to flash away. The E recast comes through from Akali's, jumps straight through, picks up the kill. Meanwhile, in top lane, Vomon's fancying his chances, but Moala with the Conqueror forces him away. First blood over to Cepheus in the mid lane for Akali.
That's what it is by the looks of it. And with Darius, it's really difficult to try to just slowly poke him down, which is what Ornn usually tries to do. Ornn doesn't have a whole lot of burst, but he's able to go in, so many times. But against Darius, he gets so much health back using his W that it can be difficult to really poke him down slowly.
Yeah, and we're seeing across the board now, we were talking about the early aggression coming in from Cepheus, and now it's starting to become apparent with top lane picking up a very hefty farm advantage early of 10 CS. In fact, across the board we're seeing farm advantages for Cepheus, which could just be that mechanical skill that they have. We came in knowing that they were a higher rank, and it's starting to show. It's not game over, but we are seeing already a over 1k gold lead for red side.
That's right. Prompo did have to back a little bit before Name Change King because Camille doesn't have quite the same jungling capabilities as a Xin Zhao. She isn't really meant to be a jungler per se, although she is capable. Usually people run Caitlyn jungle because of the amount of engage that she has, but her jungling sustain is a little bit weaker in that sense.
Yeah, and with the Camille, still has a bit of a camp advantage over the Xin Zhao, despite her early aggression. We'll be looking to get another gank off very shortly, as is Xin Zhao. However, something to say, the aggressive positioning of Camille really lends herself to applying just pressure, let alone trying to look for any kills, and I think that's going to go very well in that Cepheus want to maintain this early advantage they've received just through farm alone and pressure.
And since the first dragon is going to be a mountain drake by the looks of it, we may be seeing a early dragon fight, because that is an incredibly good dragon to get early on.
Yeah, especially if you're looking to force fights, as we are looking in the bot lane. They do force a flash out of Morgana. Precision Protocol does not quite land for the second proc. Neither does the stun from Braum, and that is going to be summoners, both flashes down for the bot side of Dorado.
And it looks like we may be seeing a bit of a gank in the top lane with Name Change King coming in.
It looks like it. The flash was blown early from Moala, so he just gets hit straight up with the Ornn ultimate. He has an ultimate of his own, but it's not enough. Name Change King picks up the Vengeance kill. That is 1 for 1 now, and Dorado do not look phased at all.
That's right. They're staying confident. They're not freaking out that they're playing against the top seed in their division. They're instead just playing it by the book, keeping it simple, getting ganks, trying to keep up in farm, and at least not feed the enemy laner. Sometimes you can try to be a little bit over aggressive or too passive, and if you're too passive, that can give the enemy side a really big gold lead, and if you're too aggressive, you can feed them kills. But it seems like right now Dorado is playing it right.
Definitely, we're seeing a fast-paced game, which we would sort of... It was an obvious fact if you looked at the champion select. The bans were all against defensive champions, and the picks were all aggressive in turn. However, it looks like just, it's a lot more even than we were almost expecting, with Vomon having actually a right time in that top lane, losing out in the farm, but trading relatively confidently with that Grasp of the Undying just slowly procking up and up. As we see almost a bit of a dull or lull period here, where it's just a case of both teams are looking to maybe get a gank off, but not quite on the right side of the map. What has to be this big explosive play that really opens up the game?
Well, I think either it's going to be a fight for drag, or it's going to be a group up team fight in the mid lane, possibly to take the mid tower, or just to take first tower in general. It seems like Cepheus is staying pushed up in their lanes, which does open them up to be ganked. But with what we've seen, we had one really good gank up in the top lane out from Name Change King. So I think that Cepheus is going to be a little bit more cautious about that now and try not to let that happen a second time.
And something I find quite funny actually is Nyctopanda on the Vayne, a bit more of a late game champion as she's known as, has actually got a lot of pressure over the Xayah right now, just constantly going in for those tumble auto attacks, and it is paying off so well with the Braum there to back her up in turn. So it's actually, everything's sort of turned around on its head a bit. There's a lot of the ones that were supposedly going to just hard win lane for Cepheus are sort of hit a bit of a dry spell, whereas the one that sort of looked to be the losing lane for Cepheus is the one doing potentially the best, as it's just a constant trade across the map.
That's right. One thing that's helping Nyctopanda out here with maybe losing out a little bit on the early game ability is the fact that he has brought Fleet Footwork in with him, which is keeping him nice and full, which is allowing him to keep pressure on his lane.
Yeah, we're actually seeing some aggressive ward clear coming from Arbu, and with it looks like Camille parking towards bot side, it's a sign of a gank to come, as well as Akali looking to shelf wave, maybe roam down herself. Really good potential for a roam with the dashes that she has, the Twilight Shroud, resetting tower aggro, everything in that arsenal, and there it is. She is walking down. She is not going to go over Tribrush just to be safe. Camilla's in lane as well. Looks like they're just going to go all in on abusing this bot lane. We will see where their focus lies if they want to take out the Dark Shield first or the ADC. Prompo, however, does get spotted on a minion. Olokon Lulu is ulted by the Hextech ultimate and cuts the Braum ultimate, but it is stopped as a stun through the Black Shield. Falcon will go down in the backline, taken down by Ripper, who came through without a Kali, picks up the double kill for herself. There is a return kill onto Braum for Olokon Lulu, but that is not a advantageous trade, to say the least.
Right, what we were seeing there, the Braum taking the aggro. We saw a very nice play.
This is a solo kill at top lane. Vomon takes out Moela. It looks like he threw the Call of the Forge God the wrong way, but it does not matter. They will lose first tower in turn, but a bit of a style on the Darius.
That's right. They definitely managed to trade out a little bit there. It's still not quite an even trade. Well, now that mid turret is down, that's pretty much even. It's turret for turret, kill for kill. It's still 3-3 and one turret down on each side. And since Dorado managed to get I'm pretty sure they managed to get the first turret down, which does let them catch up a little bit in gold. It isn't quite a 1,000 gold lead, even though there is quite a bit of farm difference in every lane.
We're seeing a very fast-paced game, as I was talking about earlier. We've already seen finished Stormrazor for Xayah, finished Bork, Blade of the Ruined King for Vayne, finished Gunblade and first-tier boots, with control wards coming through for Akali. Everything is coming out very quickly. There's high farm and high kill pressure. It looks like the early item spikes are just going to help that even further, especially the burst on the Akali. 3-0 already at just under 12 minutes in. Really going to have a lot of eyes on Ripper to make these big plays and just rip apart the enemy team, as the burst that actually goes down with the Nick Panda isn't respecting the 2v1, throws in the flash stun. He's still alive. How long is that for? He flashes away from the command shockwave, stays alive, picks up the kill himself, as there goes the Hextech Gunblade onto Lolagon Lulu, who does flash away. How did Nick Panda not die in that situation?
That just really goes to show that the mobility that comes out from a Vayne makes her such a powerful fighter. You always have to keep in mind where the walls are when you're fighting against a Vayne. It's a little bit similar to fighting against a Poppy. Nick Panda realized that he'd be able to land a stun off if he rolls and hits him against the wall of Dragon Pit, and it worked out perfectly for him. He kept on staying mobile, he dodged skill shots using his flash early on, and he didn't try to run away. I think if he had tried to run away there, it might have actually ended badly for him. But him just staying there fighting worked out really well.
Yeah, that aggression really caught Power Greek off guard as he does go down for his first death of the game. And Nectar Panda styling on the Orianna. And we're seeing a repeat of the fight in top lane. There's no mana on Moala, but Vomit is still not feeling it. The Conqueror comes down, the maxed out Hemorrhage in turn. Vomit's forced away. And now it's starting to look like a much more open map game, as we're seeing the Rift Tower be pressured by Blue. As Pompo does flash, go over the wall with the E, throws down the Hextech Ultimatum onto Orianna. Sorry, I'm slightly behind there. The ultimate comes down from Vom, throws down the Call of the Forge God. Here's Ingreston in the backline. He is all on his own. Abu picks up that kill. I apologize, my spectator had a slight lag on that one. Maybe not the high intensity as expected, but it looks like they are going to return on the Rift Herald, but this side for Red Team.
That wasn't a bad call from Dorado saying, hey, let's get the Rift Herald. Since they got drag, that is a good trade to get out of it. But Cepheus, they knew what was going on. They realized what would be happening there. They predicted it, and they engaged on it. Once they saw what was going on, they all came in. The only one who wasn't there, I believe, was... Actually, no, Nick Panda was there. So it was just staying in that fight and having that team fight confidence. They took out Vomit really, really early. Vomit came from behind with the Call of the Forge God. You think, hey, maybe he'll be able to do something here, get some big knockups, but instantly Ripper leaped onto him, burst him down as Akali does, and they took him out.
Yeah, and that is definitely the case. The Akali looks to be the absolute monster of this game. 4-0 to 100% kill participation, as well as having 4 out of 6 of the kills herself. Is hit the power spike really early on, hit the ground running, with the Sork boots and Hextech Gunblade, going to be shredding through any target of her choice. Doesn't even need to be a squishy by this point, as it's really looking like what can Cepheus do to win these fights. They look like they have these glimmer of hopes with the team fight composition that they have drafted. The Ornn ultimate in the Call of the Forge God, Command Shockwave coming through, is just not quite enough damage, not on enough people, and it's Prompo on the Camille who is forcing these fights really aggressively, and these are the ones that work out for Cepheus.
That's right, and we got to see some really great Akali plays from Ripper last time I casted them, and we're seeing it again. He has that champion nailed down, and this time he's got a really fancy skin to go along with it. He's able to control the battlefield so well, and he knows when to engage and who to engage on. He's able to just get into the back line and take out priority targets. And it's really paying off for Cepheus.
The flash stun comes down to the power as well as Hextech Ultimatum. There's nothing that poor Orianna can do about that. The kill goes over to Camille. 2 ultimates thrown down onto Orianna. So much lockdown.
And this is going to be the first mid tower gone on the side of Dorado, with the Rift Herald being here to help them out. They may even be able to take the second if they can keep him alive, and if Dorado can't help out because
the
of
flash
pressure being
comes
put
in
on
from
other
Mage
lanes.
King to capitalize on that dark binding, that hit. Almost coming out of nowhere, Lollicon Lulu sniping Camille right near that inner tower in mid lane as a blue turret goes down in top lane. Dorado, 1 tower to 3, with Cepheus taking the lead in that regard.
That's right. Since Cepheus dropped the Rift Herald in the mid lane, then we saw Nick and Abu go into the top lane, and that put the pressure on. They say either you let us have this tower or you let Herald have your tier 2. And it worked perfectly for Cepheus. They managed to get the first tower out of mid lane and the first tower out of top lane. The only thing they lost was one death,
from
but
blue side, Lollicon Lulu forced to flash away. The flash comes in from Prompo. There is no escape from the Camille when she has that hook shot available. Looking to see if anything else is going to come out of this. It looks like there will be a soft reset on the aggression. They will take that kill and look to make a play across the map and look for objective control. As Prompo re-engages, throws down the slow. The stun will not be completed from concussive blows.
right, and it looks like we're seeing sort of a dual split push here. Vaughn in the bot lane and Moeller in the top. Maybe, actually no, it looks like Vaughn is going to be ditching out of here. Never mind, looks like he's going back in with so many players of Cepheus inside of the jungle. I don't know if that's going to work out very well, because it seems like they're going to be going in on him now.
Yeah, I think he might just have to accept his fate here. Hopefully see if he does to blow anything. He will not use any important summoner spells. He keeps his flash available. He knows that there is no escape for him in that sense. As we're seeing a good rotation coming in from red side, as well as just really some over-aggression from Vaughn on Ornn.
Right, I think maybe he really should have backed there, and when Cepheus realized that he had to realize that he was still in lane, they instantly went in.
Unnecessarily, Lollicon Lulu. Oh, this is a color's nightmare. There's too much aggression happening to finish a point. I apologize. Looks like hopefully we might hear a bit of a dull here, but instead, MTH King goes in with the audacious charge, but the shockwave on him does not hit anyone. He is now locked down with Hectic Ultimate, and the guillotine comes in from Moeller. He is looking to force into more kills here for himself. Throws down Noxious Guillotine, part 2, double kill on the Darius.
Looks like they won't be able to catch up to Falcon since he did land some roots on him, but that doesn't really matter since it looks like the inhibitor turret will be going down soon.
Yeah, Vaughn has no chance there. He is under tower on his own versus 3. Albin might die in response, not quite. The scaling damage of the tower will not take him down. That is a clean pickup. An inhibitor 19 minutes into the game. It started slow, and then almost in the last 3 minutes, the entire map has been taken by Cepheus.
Right, it looks like we might not be able to see Nick the Panda really get to that late game, but honestly, it doesn't really matter. We've been seeing him really pop off on the Vayne anyway, even though he doesn't have that full build that we really want to see from a Vayne.
Yeah, Prompo is doing such a good job of forcing everything everywhere. You're seeing all these objective leads coming through thanks to the jungler. Double Drake at 20 minutes into the game. There is an 8k gold advantage. That is some quick maths coming in from me there. A turret advantage, everything going in the favor of Cepheus. Really just unraveling Dorado very recently. Capitalizing so well on mistakes as well. It's going to be interesting to see where their next focus lies. Getting some vision around the Baron Pit.
Looks like it, and while Dorado is having to stick up in the top area of the map to make sure that they can go in on Baron if they have to.
Goes down onto Brom. Concussive blows will not land onto his target. He is caught out on his own. Wanted to force an engage, just the two of them, but Ripper is not feeling it. Prompo will not complete the hook shot. It looks like the actual aggression is coming in from blue side. What a massive shockwave coming in from Power Greek. May have just carried this fight, turn it around themselves. Moeller is on his own, does not have the Noxious Guillotine. That is a ace coming in from Dorado on the back end. They knew the hook shot was down, and Power Break hits the huge shockwave onto 3 pivotal members. This looks to be an early Baron for Dorado, turning this game around.
That's right. Cepheus has no way to stop this Baron. They have no chance of stealing it. So they're going to have to play a lot more defensively for the next few minutes while Dorado has the Baron buff.
Yeah, that is going to go down without any issues. Abu was just too late. The 4v5 fight was forced from Dorado, and it paid out dividends for them. They caught out Abu early. Super Minions are going to take the first Nexus Tower, however, so it's not all sunshine and rainbows for Dorado in that comeback story. They still have quite a ways to go, but this is definitely a good start in looking to make that upset.
That's right. Now here is their chance to catch up on objectives that they've been missing out on a little bit here, but they're going to have to really push the lanes out, and Cepheus is going to have to answer that some way. They do have some pretty good lane control with Darius and Akali, but against a Baron buff, it might be difficult for them to really hold it. It looks like they're going to be grouping up in the mid lane, though, and keeping that pushed in.
It's good to note that Volman has a really good way of clearing those super minions with that percent health damage on Bellow's Breath, that brittle auto attack. Really useful at clearing out these high health minions. So alongside Baron buff, it is pretty straightforward for Dorado to clear that mid wave of minions. However, it looks like that's not even the priority for Cepheus. As they take the dive and ball in, the Twilight Shroud instantly cleanses any aggro onto the Akali, who's just going to be running through the fight. Free will. However, it is actually the forward flash from from Name Change King to try and force that fight further. Will not get the Audacious Charge down onto any key members, as that is a 1-for-0 for Cepheus, but they are sent running, tails between their legs, as, maybe Prompo didn't fancy the red buff as much as he maybe wanted it.
One thing we saw there that hurt my heart a little, Prompo, he went in and it looked like he tried to use the Hextech ultimatum, but the Black Shield came up and protected that teammate, the spell immune, keeping him safe from the Hextech ultimatum, which made that fight a lot harder. They still managed to get a kill out of it, but they maybe couldn't do quite as much as they wanted to there.
Yeah, and seeing still the inhibitor down in mid lane being the biggest crutch for Dorado right now. They look like the aggression is coming through. Their teamfight composition is doing really well for them, but they are just currently stuck in their own base clearing minions when they really want to be out there forcing teamfights that they can win. Name Change King is itching to start a teamfight with the Audacious Charge into the Crescent Sweep, but he's not able to get it off, as Cepheus are just able to run around the map as they please whilst they know Dorado are preoccupied.
And it looks like Cepheus is just going to be looking to take this dragon straight off the bat. The Ocean Drake giving them, that little bit of extra cooldowns and such, so they may be able to do a lot better in these team fights. And also just keeping away that objective from Dorado there, making them not able to catch up maybe quite as much as they want to.
Yeah, and really, it's so hard to watch as Dorado try their best, put in the heart to make this team fight happen for them, but constantly the disengage is coming through from Brom and Prompo to stop it. And Ripper is just dashing left, right, and center, goes in with ultimate micro stun, comes out with the Twilight Shroud, resetting all aggro from towers, is doing a lot to help him engage the team fights himself. And now Dorado are just sort of grouped as 5 constantly. They don't want to get caught out, and they're just hoping that at some point they can force the teamfight off of the back of it.
That's right. Cepheus has a lot of mobility, which allows them to not only engage when they want to, but disengage when they need to. With the Braum dash, the Vayne roll, the Akali W with her Shroud, and Camille being able to hookshot her way in and out of fights, it is really making it Cepheus's game. They decide sort of the rules, and they decide if they say, okay, well, we take this fight or we don't take this fight. The only time where we didn't see that was right near Baron, where Prompo, He tried to engage, and then he sort of thought about it, and he decided not to. And then Dorado saw that opportunity and capitalized on it because they knew that at that point, Cepheus didn't have the choice anymore.
Yeah, and Dorado, they are looking for these mistakes. They're looking for the 4v5 fight that they got before, and they're trying to replicate their success. Name Change King, however, might be caught out. The slows come through, hefty amount of damage from the Silver Bolts from Nick DePanda, who's really starting to hit his stride. Has a farm deficiency over the Xayah, or under the Xayah, as it would be, but still outputting so much damage with that black Blade of the Ruined King and Phantom Dancer. And now it looks like blue side of Dorado are starting to split up and around the map a bit more. A 1-3-1 coming through from Cepheus. They don't want to force a team fight anymore. They do it on their own terms. It's just becoming a very tense moment, really, when both teams have a bit of a trigger finger going, but no against it in the wisest decision.
Right, and Cepheus has realized that Dorado is just going to be grouping up as a 5-man from now on because they aren't able to catch.
Actually not able to complete Call of the Forge God. Really good shield coming through from Abu to completely shut down that engage. We haven't even mentioned that interaction yet. That is one of the best things that Abu could have picked into that matchup, as Name Change King is actually fancying the 1v1 with Moala. The Orianna is now there to help him out. Does not throw down the shockwave yet. The flash from Moala will get him out alive, but a lot happened right there. The root comes down. Nothing will follow onto Abu, and we're seeing another lull as the 1-3-1 proceeds.
Right, because Cepheus has realized that Dorado has to stick together as a 5-man because they can't really win any 1v1s or 2v2s right now. So what Cepheus is doing in response is getting some clean split pushes going on. They're keeping 3 in the mid lane, which applies a lot of pressure that Dorado has to answer while having Ripper go bot and Molar go top, which has already paid off in a tower for Ripper, and the top tower on the side of Dorado has taken a lot of damage. It only has 166 health left. One good push will take that tower out.
Yeah, definitely. We saw the restraint from Moala to not just take it himself, maybe trade the life for it. Knows that the 2v1 is coming his way, and it does not take it. But as you said, incredibly low, really susceptible to any form of push right now. A slow pushing wave might even take it themselves, as Prompo has been seen by the Scrying Bloom. Will use the hookshot on his way out of there. Vomon does not fancy his chances against Moala anymore, and looks like the pressure advantage is swinging back towards red side. They are able to split up the team fighting team, and if they maybe pick up this Baron, this could be game winning. We saw blue side get it last time after a very good team fight. However, it looks like right now they're just not in a position to contest it, as it is started up by red side.
Yeah, I was thinking that maybe they would wait and try to get this second Mountain Drake, since that would give them so much extra damage onto the Baron. But frankly, they don't need it with the Vayne Silver Bullets passive there. It's just allowing them to do so much damage to it and take it out very, very quickly.
Yeah, really no effort expended from Cepheus to take that. They have picked it up for pretty much free. There was no way blue side can contest it. There was too much pressure coming in from Moala on Darius in bot lane. Ornn couldn't be there to force a fight, and even if he was there, there was Braum to stop him. Really well done by Cepheus to read the map, know that that was a free Baron pickup, and now they just need to try and abuse that. Maybe even keep doing the 1-3-1 and just keep those Baron up minions, forcing more towers, slowly whittling down Dorado.
That's right, and we also saw some interesting stuff from Ripper there. He was hanging out right near the middle inside of Dorado's jungle, which sort of walled out anybody from being able to contest. It turns out that he didn't really need to because they didn't particularly try anyway, but having that sort of extra protection there, that extra warning of, hey, they may be coming in to try to take this Baron from us, sort of is reminiscent of earlier where they didn't have quite enough information to engage or disengage on a fight inside of the river and ended up costing them their entire team and a Baron.
Yeah, Name Change King is micro-stunned through, but a really good Crescent Sweep will throw Ripper across the wall, who is forced to ultimate his way out of that one. No longer available for that big burst on a carry. As Vomit actually throws down the Call of the Forge God away from Arbu to try and stop it being blocked. Trying to throw down the 900 IQ. Arbu throws down the shield anyway. No one will get hit by the Ornn R, as Darius is still barreling down top lane.
Right, with that Baron buff, he should be able to take this tower out pretty quickly. I don't know if Dorado will be able to stop him.
Yeah, they will go down there, but the Baron up minions are maybe too tanky for blue side to deal with. Looks like they maybe just want to force a fight. The Audacious Charge onto a minion to gain distance from Name Change King. Can't force the fight as the minions are still just too much of a nuisance, as well as Darius and Akali splitting down the sideways. The 1-3-1 is working so well with that Baron up minions for Cepheus.
Right, Dorado has to choose here. They say either we engage on a fight in mid, knock out those people, win a fight, and then we can deal with the damage in the side lanes afterwards.
And it looks like the engage is
for
exactly what's going through Name Change King. So Gage will proc. The bind goes down onto the Fame, but it's not enough. Actually, no, Crompo over-aggresses. This is now a 4v5 fight. Can they make it work? Volman does not have the Call of the Forge God to make any follow-up happen. Looks like they are not too deterred by the death of their jungler, however, Cepheus, as Ripper is just going to be an absolute monster and just force everyone away. The flash comes in with the micro-stun, goes straight into the Twilight Shroud. Obscurity comes through. Name Change King once again knocking him out of the stealth. Cannot get anything down though, does not have any way of keeping himself alive as Ripper is still just going through. In goes Featherstorm by Falcon, will not pick anything up. That is an ace for Cepheus, and that is game one of possibly two. Might see a reverse sweep. Dorado aren't new to those.
That's right, but if they did manage to pull out the reverse sweep, this time it would be a little bit different from their last game where they got reverse swept.
Yeah, definitely, but anything can happen. Really good showing, actually, I think, from Dorado to not crumble under the pressure and take maybe what could have been a 20-minute loss after that inhibitor in mid lane. So I want to see them come back stronger and maybe even play a bit better. They can definitely take a game off of this if they're able to play their draft correctly, but that is 1-0 currently in this best of 3 for Cepheus. We will see you very shortly for the next game in this series. Do not go anywhere. We will be back.
Legends never die when the world is calling you. Can you hear them screaming out your name? Legends never die, they become a part of you. Every time you bleed for reaching greatness, relentless you survive. They never lose hope when everything's cold and the fighting's near. It's deep in eternity. But you'll never see the price it costs. The scars collected all their lives. When everything's lost, they pick up their hearts and avenge defeat. Before it all starts, they suffer through harm just to touch a dream. Oh, pick yourself up, 'cause legends never die. When the world is calling you, can you hear them screaming out your name? Legends never die. They become a part of you. Every time you bleed for reaching greatness, legends never die. When the world is calling out your name, begging you to fight. Pick yourself up once more. Pick yourself up, 'cause legends never die. When the world is calling you, can you hear them screaming out your name? Legends never die. They become a part of you. Every time you bleed for reaching greatness, legends never die.
Tell me where do I go? Tell me where do I take us? Your heart is starting to slow. May the water be safe. As I dive in, blood stains washing underneath the waves.
And ladies and gentlemen, we are back for game number 2 of this series between Cepheus and Dorado. The teams have swapped sides, and now we will be seeing the battle from the other side of the fence. We are here at SRG Serenity Gaming, Wintersplit, Week 4, Game 2, Division 2. I am Kui, joined once again by the all-encompassing talent of the Litzy, as we have 2 support bands gone already.
That's right, the Braum and the Lulu out. Dorado did not like playing against Abu's Braum there, and Cepheus still keeping out Lolicon Lulu's, you would assume, favorite champion, Lulu, which, if you look at her match history, is apparently true. And they're taking the Ornn out, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah, the Nocturne gone once again from Dorado. They banned it in game 1, firstly on blue side against Cepheus, and the, I'm gonna keep saying this name wrong because there's so many different things. Prompo, there we go. Prompo has not had Nocturne in any games recently, but Kaiser taken away from Dorado, Ornn taken away from Dorado. We saw that Ornn actually do pretty good work in that last game for Vomon, actually picking up a solo kill on his laner, Moela.
That's right, the percent damage, health, and the grasp, along with the Time Warp tonic that he brought, was a very difficult thing for Moeller to deal with, and now they decided, you know what, we're just not going to deal with it again. And now with the Camille being banned away by Dorado, that means that we saw a very good showing from Prompo as well, which I think is absolutely true. He was able to dictate how the fights went and when they started.
Yeah, Xin Zhao picked up for Cepheus, so that will not be going over to Name Change King for a second time. However, Zyra Khan instantly picked up by Dorado, no second thoughts about it, picking up the Lovers in the bot lane, looking to take their advantage they had potentially in that last game and actually solidify it a bit further. Aurelia is the next pick for Cepheus.
Right, I'm going to enjoy seeing a Xin Zhao Aurelia game on the same side. Last time we saw Xin Zhao being played by Dorado, and we're seeing that swapped around a little bit. And that's also a way of taking away Xin Zhao from Name Change King, who did very, very well with it just last game.
Yeah, Name Change King really was helpful in forcing all of these fights, but he couldn't quite get them when he wanted to. He maybe flash forward a bit too early at some points, didn't manage to actually follow it up with the Audacious Charge, but definitely was useful. The Crescent Sweeps, I want to point out, were incredible from him, constantly knocking people over walls, away from the primary targets. Couldn't do it long enough. All the gap close from Cepheus in the end was too much, but the Xin Zhao definitely a high priority pick in this game. Vayne taken away from Nick DePanda. Not going to see that for a game 2. A lot of adapted bans from Dorado and Cepheus alike.
And it looks like so far we're having a heavy engage composition on both sides, with the Lissandra teleport, the Rakan W, him being able to knock up an entire team in some cases, and then on the side of Cepheus we're seeing Alistar, Aurelia, and Xin Zhao. These are all very heavy engage champions on both sides, which will be a lot of fun to watch. We see the teams engaging on top of each other, or one team capitalizing on the other team's missed engage. Will be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, and I think something to point out is the aggression generally is not new to us. In last game, I think the first inhibitor went down at something like 19 minutes 30. We saw a very good stall out coming in from Dorado to stop the early aggression team winning that early. However, it was all for nothing, as they did eventually fall down after a strong fight. But the early aggression, into the mid game, is really where we want to look. We saw such a quick, fast-paced game in that first 25 minutes. First items finished at 10 minutes into the game. And I want to see Ripper really rip apart the team once again. He did such a good job last game. Most likely going to be picking up the Aurelia with a Victor top, I would believe. But I'm open to be proven wrong in that sense.
It could go either way there, and they may decide who plays who depending on the top pick on the side of Dorado, which it looks like it's going to be Gnar. So against that, I don't know if Victor would be a really great pick against Gnar, since Gnar has so much mobility, being able to jump past the Victor and stay out of his stun. I think instead they may decide to go for the Irelia top lane.
Yeah, so the good thing about having flex picks is that you can really put them in and around anywhere. You don't need to pick up Victor and Aurelia and decide, okay, this has to go top and this one has to go mid. If the situation calls for it, you can swap them around really with no questions asked. and it can really psych out the other team, or the other team could try and prepare for both. I think Lissandra and Na are both very safe laners and reliable laners, so good pickups for Dorado coming into this flex pick mania of Cepheus. We will be now waiting for the client to catch up. We will catch you very shortly to see the action unfold in this, what is promising to be an exciting game too. Do not go anywhere. We have a 1-0 lead for Cepheus. Can they maintain it?
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. Finding life along the way, melodies we haven't played. No, I don't want no rest. Echoing around these walls, fighting to create a song. I don't wanna miss a beat. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. And we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands. And we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go.
Run a quick analysis. Hey, Pearl, run a diagnostic. Target acquired. Cannons primed. Scanning for real threats. Non-detected. Non-detected. Sounds apocalyptic. I'm centuries ahead of them. I'll make my own future.
All systems fully charged.
All systems charged. Time for a true display.
Returning to base.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. After that pause, we are now getting into game for number 2 between Cepheus and Dorado. There is a 1-0 lead for Cepheus, who are now taking up the blue side of the map. I am Kui, still followed by the Litzy, and we have both compositions now laid in and set in stone. Where do you see this one going in this early to mid-game scuffling that we keep talking about?
Well, right now with the Xin Zhao versus Lee Sin, I believe that Xin Zhao is going to come out a little bit ahead, and if he has some good support coming in from Moeller, then I think that will definitely be a winning trade there. It doesn't look like we're going to be getting a 5-man invade, though, like we saw last time. Instead, just that standard spread across the whole field as both teams wait for their camps to show up.
Yeah, we're not quite seeing perhaps as an aggressive start from either jungler this time. They are. We saw 2 level 2 ganks come through in the last game. We saw Camille go top onto the Ornn, and we saw the Xin Zhao go aggressive in mid lane. Neither turned up any kills, but that does not mean they will not, look to maybe try again, see if the damage output is enough. But with the red side bot lane seemingly pathing down, we will see another topside start for the red side.
And also, as we were talking about with the Irelia going top lane and the Victor mid, maybe that was going to be a Victor top and Irelia mid, but they were able to realize that really wouldn't be a great matchup, Victor against Gnar. So instead, they decided to put the Irelia top, and we're going to get to see Moeller put her through her paces.
Yeah, something quite common to see actually. With the Zyra Khan is a bit of a cheese strategy. Did not fancy their chances against the Alistair and Lucian in this one. Maybe try and catch them out as they try to move from the buff, but it's actually all worked out in the end, as we did see Prompo look to maybe do a early gank in bot lane. So the spared aggression was maybe just a calculation coming in from the bot side of Dorado.
That's right, with the Prompo already taking the blue buff, they know that. Falcon and Lolicon, they understand that that Prompo is going to be very aggressive and be in that area, and so they haven't really tried anything too crazy there. They are a little bit pushed up, so we may be seeing Prompo come down there shortly and try to get some engage. Looks like there's some pings happening there saying that may happen.
Yeah, Prompo is actually clearing the entire bot side of Lee Sin. I believe Lee Sin doesn't have his blue buff yet. Nope, that has gone to Prompo. His Grump's gone to Prompo. And his Wolves are going to Prompo. Lee Sin needs to find out about this, otherwise it might be just too late. Prompo might pick up pretty much 3 sides of the jungle for absolutely nothing in return. And Lee Sin didn't even get a successful gank up in top, which he was looking for originally. He wanted to get something early onto Mola, but the minions were too large. The Nahal was not in position. Maybe just didn't spend his time well enough. And maybe this could be a snowball from Prompo that we didn't see last game, where both junglers couldn't quite get the edge on each other. Maybe it looks a bit more advantageous for the Xin Zhao this time around.
Right, Name Change King would have to invade in order to get the double buff that he wants, but with Prompo already back on his blue buff, there's no more chance for that. He sort of had to decide there. Do I counter the invade? Do I go in and get his jungle so then it's even, or do I go for a gank in the top lane? He chose the gank in the top lane, but that didn't entirely work out. It looks like we've even been seeing some engage there. It's pretty much even back to even in the top lane.
Yeah, and once again, like last game, we saw the farm advantage coming up from Cepheus just prove to be too much and just get an early gold advantage. I believe just over 6 minutes we saw a 1.5k gold lead. We are now almost seeing a 1k gold lead already as the engage comes in from Alistar in bot lane, but both supports will force the disengage as Rakan gets a nice little knock-up onto Alistar to stop anything from escalating any further.
That's right. Now it's just sort of a little bit of back and forth between the teams. It looks like now Cepheus is sort of taking the pushing up a lot further. It looks like we're seeing an engage in the top lane.
Mola will take the Nile very low. Name Change King is here to answer on Ripper's aggression. Does not hit. The Sonic Wave will not be able to Resonating Strike in turn. Ripper just buying time maybe for his jungler. Prompo will not get there in time. But that is unfortunate for Name Change King. Had the positional advantage, couldn't land the abilities to make it work. As Ripper gets out with his life, doesn't expend anything.
And it looks like Vaughn has decided to not back. He was thinking about it for a little bit there, but since he was so close to getting his Mega Gnar and getting the heal that comes for that, he decided to stay in lane. And now, once again, it's pretty much back to even.
Yeah, so really, the aggression coming in from Aurelia, I think, might well end up being the tipping point in this one. Nara's having a rough time. Maybe we're expecting the victor. Didn't appreciate that the flex pick can just go as expected. As Lolicon Lulu tries to force the engage bot lane, the Grand Entrance does not quite land. The Sonic Wave will. The Resonating Strike has already come through. The Ignite onto Arbu will flash out with the heal of Nick Panda to keep him alive.
And it looks like he's going to be just fine. We may see him back here, but since he is using his health pot, he is getting quite a bit of health back, and it looks like we may be seeing a little bit of engage back in the bot lane with Nick getting knocked up, but looks like he is doing fine as well.
Yeah, Nick Panda doing a pretty good job of staying up in farm. Arbu actually lands the Pulverize onto Rakan, actually throws out the flash to be safe. The headbutt didn't come through. Nick Panda's too low to really fight that, so it's interesting for Lolicon Lulu to feel the need to flash there.
Right, it looks like Prompo's just hiding in the bush here.
And
they have no idea he's there. They didn't have a ward.
Falcon. The flash comes out early. The slow comes through from the three-pronged strike, and that is going to be first blood, and maybe another Prompo flashes for that one. Nick Panda gets to keep his own. 2 clean kills in bot lane for Cepheus.
That was a great play from Prompo. He just stayed in that bush, and he realized pretty early on that Dorado didn't know that he was there because they kept on pushing in the lane just a little bit, and when it was time, he went in and Lulu tried to knock him up. She went in with the grand entrance to try to get him up.
Doesn't have Mega Gnar. Will get another Blade Surge onto him. The dance, the perfect flawless duet. That's it. Flawless duet does not quite land, but Volman stays to clear minions. Blade Surge auto attack. Mola just picks up a pretty free kill for himself.
Right, I assume that Vaughn was thinking that Moeller had gone through Tribush, through River maybe. That's possibly what I would have done if I was in Moeller's position, but I am not as good of a player as he is. And obviously it has worked out for him, managed to get a kill, and he has burned Vaughman's TP, which means he will not have any map presence unless he decides to walk there.
Yeah, Ripper standing quite close to the brush that Name Change King is in, but it does not look like Sonic Wave range is there. Something that maybe we considered for Foreman is that he was trying to build up his rage bar. The claw does go in. Sonic Wave just goes wide. Ripper instantly cleanses the tomb, but that is not going to be enough as Prompo comes through to collect up the next one. When it becomes lightning, it does throw down the slow onto Power Greek. The auto attack's not quite enough. He's actually stunned onto tower. Maybe able to go down here. Power Greek is playing with fire by going back in. Does not choose to over-aggress on that one.
Right, that was pretty risky on the side of Prompo there, just staying, going in. He knows that Lissandra has that powerful root and stun, but it looks like it's paid off for him. He knew when to leave, and
Lolicon Lulu actually throws down the quickness, hits both targets. We see Falcon free hitting, but Lolicon Lulu is taking so much, a huge headbutt pulverize comes through from Arbu, held onto it for just the right time, hits both of them, and Nick Panda will pick up not the kill. It will go over to Arbu, but you cannot blame him after he held onto that headbutt pulverize for the perfect time, maybe looking to throw down a dive. The headbutt not quite in range, will go away from that as Volman now has Mega Gnar in this fight. What a Blade Surge predict from Mola. Will throw down the ultimate to try and pick up a kill for himself. Meanwhile, in bot lane, around Dragon, we're seeing Name Change King go down to Victor after picking up a kill for himself. Originally, Power Greek is now being aggressed on. The Claw does go through, but in goes the Relentless Pursuit from Nick Panda to pick up the kill for himself. Does not have the mana to really do anything else but use that E, so held onto it well. Wow, what an across-the-map explosion that we've been seeing. Gnar does not go down in the end, I do believe, to Mola. But wow.
Right, we're seeing a lot of confidence from Cepheus here. It seems like they have Dorado's number. They figured out how they play, and they figured out how to play against it. And it's working very well for them. They're playing incredibly aggressively. We actually saw Nick Panda chase Falcon all the way under the tier 2 tower in bot lane. And luckily, Falcon managed to get away with using his ultimate, but still that pressure that he has, being able to push Falcon all the way back.
Rompo misses, wind becomes lightning onto Name Change King. Does not get the slow from that second part of the ability, as we are seeing a complete disengage. But maybe in mid lane we're seeing the opposite, as the Glacial Tomb does come down onto Ripper, does not have the cleanse available to stop it, might be able to just walk his way out, does throw in the Siphon Power, and will be just fine. As they engage in bot lane instead, there is no time like the present to go in, as that is a kill for Nick Panda, who has had a pretty easy lane so far. They will actually maybe give over the Rift Herald. It is on 82 HP. It goes down to red side. Name Change King will pick it up from himself. Power Greek does not have the Glacial Team to do anything with this, but it does not matter. Voman is there. Throws down the slow, not quite. Power Greek will pick up the kill regardless, as that is actually basically a steal on the Rift Herald.
That's right. Prompo, he tried to stay in there, he tried to land the smite just right, but that's always a little bit of a mind game, and he figured that Name Change King would smite first, and then he'd be able to clean up the rest of it, but it didn't quite work out for him, and instead he had to sacrifice himself.
Yeah, Prompo's had a bit of a 50-50 series. Sometimes he makes these perfect engages that goes so well for him, and sometimes he's just so unsure of what he can and can't do that he just ends up throwing the fight for his team. So a bit of indecisiveness may be the death of him in that sense, but Abu has been doing so well on this Alistair, making every engage count, as Power Greek looks to be the next focus. However, he has got a team of himself. The re-engage is coming through from Lulakon. Lulu misses the grand entrance, but a huge, once again, headbutt pulverize sets up for a clean 3 kills, double kill on the Victor. The stun does land onto Vom, and down goes the Vanguard's Edge. Triple Blade Surge gets the kill for Moala. Respecting that damage is not something that Vom seems to be doing right now.
And the patience that we saw in mid lane with Nick and Abu just waiting in that bush, they knew that they understood that Power Creek was going to be going in and trying to engage a fight. And so they just simply waited until it happened, and it worked out great for them because 2 other of Power Creek's teammates came in to help, and the gigantic knockouts from Abu just absolutely secured that fight for them. They were able to clean it up and take the mid tower, and that is the outside turrets of all of Dorado's lanes down.
Yeah, you have to, look at Abu and sort of appreciate all the work he's putting in. He is saving Headbutt Pulverize for the perfect times. His ADC wasn't getting engaged on, but he waited until they were grouped up perfectly for the 2-man knockup in bot. Gets a perfect 3-man knockup in the re-engage in mid lane, and Lolocon Lulu is just having a hard time keeping up. The 0-5-0 bot lane for Dorado is looking very dire, despite having this, very meta, very strong duo of champions. And it's really just a case of Dorado falling behind and, falling apart at the seams, as they seem to be getting a bit desperate to do things now.
Right, if we look at the towers on the side of Cepheus, only one of them has actually taken
Nick
damage.
the Panda. Actually, Relentless Pursuits into Lee Sin. Didn't see him there, but it doesn't matter. Prompo will flash through. The headbutt comes in from Abu. Does not land the pulverize. He is tanking tower. In goes that huge damage reduction. The shield from Lolacon Lulu will get him out of there as he dances his way back to his ADC. But all this forced aggression and just pretty much just being fed from Cepheus is all they need right now. You saw that even though Lucian went straight into the Lee Sin at melee range, it did not matter. Vomon, the Vanguard's Edge, will not come through from Mola trying to take that kill as he respects the Meganar coming through. This is a battle on 2 fronts for red side, bot and top being aggressed on.
And it looks like the gold lead is insane. We have just very nearly broken a 10k gold lead on the side of Cepheus, and with the Rift Herald coming out, that timer was just about to run out. They had to put that down, and also Lee Sin wants to be able to use his wards for his proper engage that he wants, because he uses those wards to move around. And Molar has plenty of time to stop this Rift Herald from getting to his tower. It looks like he's going to instead engage.
Vomon doesn't have flash. In goes Vanguard's Edge. Still has another Q available to him. Will pick that up with the Blade Surge. Last game we saw 19 minutes and there went the first inhibitor. This time we're seeing 16 minutes. They are just adapting and overcoming from the side of Cepheus. They are getting faster and faster, more decisive. The objectives are just constantly in their favor. 2 Infernal Drakes could just spell game flat out for Dorado.
That's right, and also I like to look at what was happening at top lane, because Vomon assumed that Molar was going to stay on the Rift Herald and get the Rift Herald down, but Molar also knew that he had plenty of time to deal with the Rift Herald, and because that when he saw Vomon backing, he just engaged, burned the ult, and took him out right then. And Rift Herald hadn't even moved 10 feet before it was killed as well.
Yeah, definitely. The Rift Herald has been such a key in the games that have been going on, but this time it just looks like it's just all for nothing, really. The Lee Sin managed to take it from the hands of Prompo, around that scuffle at Baron Pit, but he just wasn't able to really connect anything with it, wasn't able to use it to any great effect. Again, a sign of, desperation and reactive play coming in from Dorado, because they just are not in position to do anything themselves. They're trying to just turtle out, wait for some scaling, but what scaling do they really even have against something like an Aurelion or Victor, who are just going to keep going and going?
That's right, and what we're seeing from Cepheus here is just a great showing. They're just having so much presence inside of the game, and them taking out an inhib at just 16 minutes it was, shows that they have really figured out how to fight against Dorado. They've said, okay, here's how they play, and we're just going to engage on every single mistake they played. They were sort of
Bowman nearly
first.
goes down trying to defend the tower. It seemed like a chain of events there. Wasn't quite sure what it was going to lead to. However, Ripper seems to want to lead the charge as Moala is just taking out blanket Nexus turrets right now. It does throw down the W, take that damage reduction in his stride, will maybe turn it straight back through. Vanguard's Edge does come across. Frozen Tomb is going to try and answer it, but it does not matter. He is looking so strong right now. Goes in with a Blade Surge, but does tank tower. Goes down in turn, and now it's looking very dire. Unfortunately, there is a slight problem as Lidzy has been rioted, been kicked out, but that does not matter all too much, as this is looking to be game right here and now. Ripper is just playing with his food as his Abu goes under the fountain to get that knockup. The next Nexus tower looks to be going down, and will they be able to end it out here? That is the question. There is still 20 seconds on the ADC. They are still just toying with Dorado at under 20 minutes in. Prompo maybe bit more than he can chew. Power Greek will take the kill in return. Ripper keeping them at bay. The TP is coming through from Moala, though this should be the end. Just dancing around the Nexus, no cares in the world. That is going to be game. And that is the 2-0 from Cepheus in Week 4 of the Serenity Gaming Division 2.
So far they're keeping their promise of 2-0ing everybody in their division. They're wanting to break out, get into Division 1, and play against that higher tier. And, that right now they are showing off their ability. They're really just engaging at the right times and capitalizing on mistakes. They made a few mistakes. That ace on the side of Dorado, and Dorado being able to take the Baron, that obviously was a mistake on the side of Cepheus. They were not quite able to engage. They couldn't really decide. They didn't have enough information, but they adapted. The next time around when they were taking Baron, they had Ripper patrolling the jungle, making sure that no one on the side of Dorado was going to contest them, having that extra information, that extra warning, and it really paid off for them in this last game.
Yeah, and that is the series done and dusted. I think we've had, a lot of fun looking at the explosive action coming through. I believe in total that was under an hour of game time. So really quick, really decisive from Cepheus. We'll be most certainly seeing them at the upper division anytime now. And any closing words from you, Lidzy, before we hand it off to some music and end the stream?
Well, I think the main thing that happened was the amount of adaptability that Cepheus had. They didn't get locked down into one play style, and instead they were able to figure out exactly what Dorado was thinking and doing and adapt to do it. And then when they realized their own mistakes, they were able to fix them. I think that is incredibly important when playing any competitive game, but especially League of Legends. And we're seeing the MVP picks. Nick DePanda has gotten the MVP on the side of Cepheus, and Vaughn on the side of Dorado so far. Apparently, according to Miloser, it is rigged because he voted for Abu, but that vote has not shown up for him yet.
I think it's for a cast perspective. I think I'll throw in my 2 cents before handing over to the one who's probably a lot smarter than me in this regard. I was thinking of throwing it over to Abu in that game specifically. Maybe last game would have thrown it over to Ripper, but really Abu put in a clinic on that one. But what do you have to say on a series MVP and a game MVP here?
Even though Ripper had a really, really great game on both sides, and Abu had such a strong game on the end, I think it's going to have to go to Abu, because even though his second game was definitely way stronger, there was some under the surface ability that he had in the first game. He had great engages, and he was also able to help decide when they had to leave. And I feel like with the few mistakes that Cepheus made, I don't ever really think it was on the side of Abu.
Yeah, and there you have it. That's the Colorcaster's opinion, which is, of course, factual. Any other opinions are just that. But that being said, that is the game and series. We will leave you tonight. However, I have been Quee, joined by the Litzy. We will see you again very shortly. As always, follow Serenity Gaming here on Twitter. Not Twitter, Twitch. They have a Twitter, but you can find that one out as well. And we will see you again shortly. Thank you, good night, and bye-bye.
Have a great night.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left.